Honestly, this was like Game of Thrones, good all the way, and then just the last season, disaster.
But we're moving on, and Group C is heating up with 3 games left. And the big story here is the fight between Gen G, Fnatic, and LGD to get out of the group and get that first seed. And our next matchup is between Fnatic and LGD. And if Fnatic win, it means that both them and Gen G are locked in the quarterfinals, and LGD would be eliminated. So last time around, we saw that LGD walked away with the victory. This time around, it is do or die, and think both teams would be very happy with going through in the first place, especially LGD coming from those plains and possibly also contesting for first. There is so much on the line.
There absolutely is, and of course for LGD, I think this is a team that we can never 100% count out, even if we feel like Gen G and Fnatic are 2 teams that are maybe performing a notch above. It seems that LGD are always keeping these games within touching distance, and it is an incredible thing to see so consistently when every single stage of their tournament so far has been all over the place. It has ups and downs, and yet they always seem to be in the race.
It's perfect for this group.
Yeah, for sure. It's just such a weird team to prepare for, because you know kind of what they want to pick, but every game we've seen is putting the light on the opposing team, and they kind of look strange. We had the Fnatic with the weird draft. We have Gen G with the very dirty games. It's a tough team to prepare for.
Yeah, of course, only a little bit ago, we had LGD versus Gen G, where they tried to walk down the mid lane and in the end lost that game. On the other side, Fnatic had a good first game here today over TSM. They did not really have any troubles in that game. They got ahead early, and it's not going to be anything for them to stress about, I think, coming into this second game, but this is a different beast.
I think today, based off of that game alone, I feel like Fnatic has had the best performance out of all the teams in this group. This game was super one-sided. It was clean all the way through, besides that little tussle in the top lane. But other than that, they saw their win conditions, drafted properly, and it's looking like one of those week 2 Fnatic power spikes.
Yeah, up until the previous Gen G game, I would have been inclined to say that Gen G were contesting there, but if Fnatic win here, I think they will look like the strongest team, without a doubt, coming out of this group. And overall, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It just feels like Fnatic have figured out what they need to do to succeed. We said it at the start of the day, and we can say it again here, but when Whippo's saying things like, yeah, of my 7 options to deal with this champion, there's no way they could ban them all out, you got to be feeling pretty good as Fnatic.
And that's particularly interesting, because let's pull up the draft from the last time Fnatic faced LGD. It was the famous let's pick set as a counter pick to the Ornn. And what we saw there is, yes, it does work, but not if the set goes in and then the rest of your team just gets killed. And that's always the issue with these counter picks in team fight situations.
Yeah. The set kind of worked. I felt like some of the fights that they actually won were kind of steals. Like set kind of threw in the Ornn, got the good E going, but I feel like the rest of the pieces make the game so hard to execute. We're looking at the full AD composition into an Ornn, the Kindred that could deny any potential combinations that rely on one-shotting the enemy. I think Fnatic looked good in the early game, but then just that transition into those team fights, I think it just looked too hard, and you just can't succeed with this draft.
Off the information we have of the previous draft of this game, but also what we've seen of the teams, what are the win conditions for both of them, Dracos?
I mean, I think ultimately for Fnatic, running back a lot of the drafts that we've seen earlier today with a little bit more stable damage profile especially, this is one of the games where we were kind of baited by the Syndra. I think having something like an Orianna for Nemesis, I expect it to be taken away, but if it's not, picking these safe, reliable picks like the Orianna and the Senna, and giving the freedom, especially to Hylissang and Whippo, to last pick to adjust your draft in the final moments, I think is massive given the depths of their champion pools and how much their champions affect the way the team plays.
I think also the key thing about this game is that Fnatic is on the blue side. We've seen a trend that blue side gives you a lot more options in terms of what you want to first pick. I think there are some key champions that always tie Fnatic's team compositions together. Red side mean they can't ban Orianna, they can't ban Evelyn, they can't ban Lucian. Some things are going to flow through, might be an Ornn, and these are the picks that usually make it so easy for Fnatic to dominate later parts of the game.
And as a final note, featured matchup in the jungle, Peanut up versus Selfmade. We talked a lot about legacy and experience, but this is new blood versus old school experienced player, and it might be so important when we load onto the Rift.
And despite Peanut's blunders early in the day, I think this is a player that you can't afford to underestimate. He obviously has had fantastic moments historically and still does have his pop-off moments in this tournament. So if we get a full performance from Peanut, I think he actually can match Selfmade, but Selfmade should still feel like the relative favorite after that blunder reel on the top side earlier today.
Battle in Group C still continuing. That race for first, that race for quarterfinals. Everything is on the line for LGD in Game 4 as they look to take down Fnatic.
And what a group this is gonna be. LGD pick up their first win in groups. And Fnatic bounce back after a disappointing performance against LGD to topple the undefeated Gen G.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last Hearing voices from afar. Join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LoL Park for Worlds 2020's continuation here. We are going to find out who is going to be progressing in this group. One tiebreaker scenario remains. I'm Atlas, this is LS, and we're very prepared to take you through what could be tumultuous in one scenario.
Yeah. Well, we have a scenario where we might end up playing two tiebreakers. And
The
that
dream
one
is still alive, is what we're
is
saying.
definitely still alive thanks to the way that some of these games so far have been unfolding here tonight.
Yep.
But it's all going to start with this one.
Exactly, we are into the draft here for our fourth match of the day. Fnatic taking on LGD. Fnatic, I think, have looked like the best team playing today, despite the 2-0 start of the day by Gen G. I think many people would probably share that sentiment. The old losing until you win isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but let's not focus on them. Let's have a look at this game, where we do see the Kindred banned away and the Nidalee left available. Orianna snapped up first, no Orns, no Twisted Fates, and that is the Evelynn ban taken away from Selfmade. Makes a lot of sense, as Syndra going to be the follow-up ban, and of course Lucian has to be banned. He suffered his first loss, I believe, in the hands of Bjergsen in our last game, and Senna going to be locked away here by LGD, so at least his wife gets in.
Yeah, I mean, the wife coming in, very important. Fnatic with the B1 Orianna is very interesting. So Nemesis going to be the one who's walking in blind. And that's going to be fine. Now, Senna and Graves both picked up. This is an angle that I know that Whippo has spoken about publicly on a few occasions. In regards to, this is a very heavy commitment to physical damage. And obviously it opens up possibilities for certain tanks to come in, but looks like we're having a Volibear just being hovered. It's most likely just going top lane.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of the old jungle electric bear, as Nemesis, for our friend LS's benefit, is of course going to hover the Annie. Most likely not going to lock that in, but if you are looking for gold in the season, definitely do that when you are at home. Take the man's advice, drop bears on people. I definitely love drop bears myself, but to go back to some seriousness, Leona going to be locked in here for Hylissang, which is interesting because, of course, his Thresh is left available. He showed us exactly why so many teams have been banning it away from him in the first round of groups. Now, Xie, wondering what he wants to take away here. Graves already locked in, not looking for any junglers. He could take away a pick into the Orianna. And the Zoe is going to be the consideration. Zoe Graves has been something that we've seen get a lot of success. Yeah. Even if it doesn't necessarily make us super happy when it comes to the draft phase, it does just mean a whole lot of mid-game damage.
And well, it also means a whole lot of potential early game control, depending on what the jungler matchup is also going to be, how Zoe manages to RNG some of her drops in the early phases. And now we're going to move into the second ban phase here. And this one is where things get a little bit interesting because, in theory, LGD can just answer top pick on R4 and then counter pick bot lane on R5 and look to get a pretty big edge with Senna down there in bottom. Lilia is going to bite the dust.
Interesting that we haven't really seen too much attention given over to Mark. I guess his Leona has been taken away, something that he's definitely been defaulting to a lot. But otherwise, not too many bans away from him. We'll see whether that is the decision Fnatic are going to make, and it is. As Sir Thomas or Timothy Kenshins, depending on where your mindset is going to be banned away for the first one in the second round for Fnatic. Second jungler could come in here to really make Selfmade have to dig deep into the champion pool. Or maybe take away something on the top side of the map if they're assuming the Volibear might be making his first jaunt into the jungle.
I actually really wonder what Selfmade's going to go for here because there's so much magic damage on the side of Fnatic right now, and Graves has already been taken away. So this is where things are really interesting because with Volibear, Orianna, Leona all being there already, Merc Treads are already incentivized, so other magic resistance items, when you're thinking about them, champions like Karthus even begin to get removed. Kindred's banned away, so is Evelynn. Lilia also removed from the table. This is a pretty awkward angle where even champions like Nidalee, who's going to be very supportive and things of that nature, begin to look a little bit questionable unless they're intending to try to hyper Reckless.
Yeah, could be a possibility here, as the Nautilus is going to be a pretty standard one here for Mark towards the bottom side. We'll give him some of that that engage potential, and is something that we've seen a lot paired alongside the Senna. So that's the bottom lane locked in. Let's see what the answer is going to be from Fnatic. Reckless still with so many champions left in that champion pool and up his sleeve. Twitch theoretically is available, but doesn't necessarily pair as well with the Leona. And Ashe, of course, being the more default choice, as LS next to me throws his pen on the table. As Nara's being considered as Hecarim is once again going to be locked in after a lot of the junglers have been removed. We saw this happen relatively recently. I believe Broxah did this and didn't necessarily work out as a last pick. Oh no, the R5 Renekton back to bite us once again.
No. I'm casting.
You are, and this is also Longshing. Remember, you know, earlier today he had a 0-4 Renekton experience where he was still able to win team fights. That is somehow in a coin flip, Gen.G won that game at the end. So,
because well, Alice,
I think Renekton's a late game champion. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to Longshing and what he's able to do with it, that is definitely how I'm feeling. And look, we'll see whether it is going to work out. I personally hate Renekton Graves. I don't think it really is the way that you want to play the top side. Does mean that Bwipo can just build a whole lot of armor and probably be okay, especially considering the Volibear likes the matchup.
This is where I'm wondering if Bwipo's going to do the full tank Volibear here, because he has the best setup for it. Bramblevast, Ninja Tab Eyes, they're super effective as early purchases here against the Renekton. Now, the other thing, though, is there's still so much magic damage on the side of Fnatic's team composition. With the Ashe coming in as well, Mertreads, QSSs in later stages, they gain even more value, which becomes very scary. So I am mostly interested to see what is going to happen here, because it feels like Fnatic, even though there's a Renekton on the enemy team, they're the ones that are likely on the timer here. Senna and Zoe, if they go the distance, Graves going to have a very good time scaling up as well this game. Things get very scary. It's going to all come down to the Hecarim and Orianna combo and what they're going to be able to find in the later stages.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to Hawkshots as well, because if this map gets dark for Fnatic, then LGD theoretically have a great opportunity to throw around those bubbles and really get those picks when we get to mid to late game, and Hawkshot is going to be absolutely pivotal in making sure that Fnatic can stick to their game plan. Fnatic have looked good so far today. LGD a little bit shaky. Did manage to get a bit of a fight back against Gen G before ultimately falling down. Still very, very interested to see whether this one's going to work. And to go back to those tiebreakers, if you are not necessarily a fan of either of these teams and you're just a fan of watching as much League of Legends as possible, you're a fan of LGD. In this one, they need to win back-to-back games, and then I believe Fnatic needs to take the last one.
Yes.
And then we get that three-way tie, where we are going to be playing a lot more video games towards the end of the day. And we'll see whether LGD is going to be able to do it. I think as far as power level displayed today, it has looked like Fnatic has been far more well-oiled. But LGD, they just sometimes win games, you know?
Yeah.
They're one of those teams.
It looks like they are very capable of swinging up and down. The stakes are very high, obviously, in this game. This group has been so neck and neck, pretty much, between the top three.
And this must personally be a bit of a heart terror for you, LS. You know, you're quite close to a lot of the Fnatic players. And, you know, there are some LCK players on the side of LGD. And also, you like League of Legends, so we want the tiebreaker. So, like, I mean, where is your heart in this one, you know?
Nemesis is one of my greatest friends in life, but we'll see what ends up happening. I did predict them to lose like that. But the way I view it, Atlas, is that I get the best of both. If he wins, then one of my friends wins. But if he loses, my pick'ems.
Yeah, there we go. Covering both of your bases. I just went all in. I did my predictions today based on my pick'ems, so I'm either going to win a lot or lose a lot. And we'll just have to see how it is going to go as this day commences. So far, not too much early action, but you can see a bit of a grouping formed on this bottom side as LGD going for this late invade. They will be able to get in there. No kills are going to eventuate, but Peanut is going to be able to comfortably steal away this red buff to start things off, as I believe some vertical jungling could ensue unless Peanut goes for a little bit more of the aggressive route. Bit of Biffo here towards the bottom side, piercing darkness. Mark getting taken down very low, though, has to flash as the aftershock comes out. Double flashes from Fnatic. They desperately want this first blood, and they will take it. Now Kramer's in trouble. Does have to cleanse. Still has flash, is going to use it. Last auto shot comes out, and there are some real happy bees on the side of Fnatic.
And this is a very explosive opening for the bot lane of Fnatic once again in one of their games here, as an enormous lead granted over to the bot lane. And things are looking real good for them. It has to be very tilting as well for LGD, the manner in which this unfolds.
Yeah. Maybe just slow and steady here as Bwipo's going to hold on to a few minions. Oh, the lane management.
I think Bwipo is going to go for the full tank. Volibear, he has the Conqueror instead of the Grasp of the Undying. So we might indeed go for Bramblevest into Ninja Tab Eyes and then pivot Sunfire with Gunblade or something.
Well, he's actually fighting Longxing at the moment. Does get his Conqueror, but Bwipo's going to win out in the trade for now. Selfmade looking for some camps to take. Didn't actually head towards the top side to grab a red buff of his own, and will now discover a Graves in the jungle. Level 3 to level 3, quick draw to get Peanut out of there. Selfmade will just take the Wolf Camp. Whippo down to 200. Longxing doing well with the Cull to Meek.
He's looking for a cheater recall, you can tell. Just gonna crash this wave in.
Yep.
Back up. Yep, get the reset.
Gonna go home now. Currently a little bit in the lead, but you can see Longxing's gonna come back after picking up that minion wave. Selfmade gets himself a crab towards the bottom side, but that will be a trade between him and Peanut. As often we've seen, the way to get around a Hecarim team composition is to just make sure that there aren't too many camps for Hecarim to have. And so far, Peanut's taken a red buff, and we'll see whether he can get more in this game with the extra priority that he will have. Of course, Longxing able to push out his wave now. Whippo making his way back up towards the top side, and LGD definitely wanting to keep up the tempo here. Longxing teleporting immediately back to get a complete shove of this minion wave. It meets in the middle. Now it's looking like it's stacking up.
I mean,
this is top side.
Beautiful coordination right now. They're threatening a freeze.
That is going to be the pushback onto Mark. Remember, he doesn't have a flash. He's got an ignite, but he's not going to be able to do anything, and that is 2 kills. Bottom side for Fnatic to start this one off.
Yeah. And the reason this is so good is because they're threatening a freeze. There's no teleport or something on the side of Kramer. Peanut on the opposite side of the map. So because Hecarim's pathing lines up with him being at golems, they're able to basically say to Senna and Nautilus, hey, if you don't unlock this, you're going to lose the equivalency of several kills anyway, but if you walk up, Hecarim's here, you're going to die. And so LGD just forced to walk up to the wave. They end up getting killed. The kill went over to Selfmade as well, which is basically the best that you could hope for.
Yeah. Oh, Selfmade is going to find Peanut once again. The bubble. Oh, it connects onto the Gromp. That is not what you want, and he loses the Smite fight. Now Nemesis is coming around. Only level 5, no shockwaves to be had as Xie. A lot of extra movement speed, finds a paddle star, but otherwise not too much more. But LGD in the end get absolutely nothing for spending some time in the enemy jungle.
And I think Selfmade feeling in pretty high spirits. He won the Smite fight as well. On the Gromp, he's up in EXP right now. Peanut really just struggling to do anything, and Graves in this situation not really having the best of times. He knows that it's going to become increasingly more difficult to start ganking some of these lanes.
And also, this is the time where the Graves is supposed to be strong in this matchup as well. Selfmade is only going to ramp up further and further as he gets closer to the Trinity Force and afterwards. There's Longxing doing pretty well here. If you guys remember back to play-ins, Longxing's Renekton's pretty damn good, guys. Even if it did lose today. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to go as another fight breaks out here towards the bottom side. Mark taking a lot of damage again as Hylissang. He wants to find it and he will pick up that kill. Now Kramer just trying to trade back, but the damage has already been done. This bottom lane has exploded for LGD. Fnatic absolutely dominant.
And it really feels like Fnatic have found the mark of weakness on the side of LGD, because the bot lane is falling apart. And if you remember, the way that Fnatic dominated against Gen G.
Oh, there's the shockwave. It lands onto Peanut. Oh no, Nemesis is going to finish off that kill while the rest of the team is looking for Kramer. Peanut, though, is actually going to escape. Xie finds a bubble, but now there are 4 members that are looking for the Zoe. Peanut, you need to get out of there, mate. You're not going to be able to do anything with a health bar that low, and Selfmade should probably take the same advice. The horse is so low, Xie turns around with a swift auto attack. No kills just yet. Portal jump comes in and Reckless eventually grabs that kill, but he is going to bite the dust for it. And now Peanut continuing to bait Hylissang. Flashes forward the smoke screens there. One more auto as Kramer grabs the double kill, and Longxing somehow turns up from the top lane. He walked all the way down.
Renekton's long adventure ends up helping out a little bit. He's also going to be in mid lane. He's going to catch the wave. Zoe up in top lane now, gonna run there. There's a cannon wave, so it's gonna absorb a lot of time, but Whippo not able to be there in the end. And LGD, just like that, the gold lead is all but gone.
Yeah, all of that early power that Fnatic had just rewritten in a moment, as we are going to have a look at the replay here. As it looked like Peanut was just utterly caught out. The shockwave was great to try and grab him.
Shockwave was really good, and then Nemesis right here. The heal from Zoe, wasn't anticipating it. He had the flash. He could have followed up with the flash auto onto Peanut, but I think he thought Peanut was going to die, so he held on to his flash. It ended up coming back to bite him. Kramer on the right-hand side. Nemesis completely out of mana. Xie, the paddle star, from another universe comes back, collides with Reckless, and then Hylissang, he gets his flash back up. Now they don't know about Renekton coming, so maybe this was a little bit better in their eyes, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Senna is so big now.
She's huge, and Senna has been a pretty extraordinary pick so far at Worlds. We've seen what Rule has been able to do with it today, but I think Jackie Love has probably set the standard for how amazing Senna can be. And let's see whether Kramer can do so as well. As he does have his Man Immune completed. Kramer has been performing very, very well for LGD. He certainly wasn't a standout. Definitely was good in the awesome dude meta, being able to play a lot of different things towards the bottom side of the map, but he wasn't necessarily a star player when he was on the Afrika Freaks over here in the LCK. But since moving to the LPL, he really has become a carry for LGD. So let's see whether he can demonstrate it here today, now set up to do just that. In theory, still 1,000 gold lead for Fnatic. They are still in the lead. But LGD making plays like that certainly going to help them out as this game goes on.
Well, as the game does currently stand, Hecarim is quite a big boy. Fnatic, they are still 1k gold ahead right now. Cloud Dragon being the first one of the game, not very high priority.
No.
For either.
Well, Hecarim will find the Graves in the jungle. Self-made and Peanut, gentleman's agreement. They are just going to back away from one another for now. Top lane looks to be the destination for the horse as he's cantering up there at the minute. Longxing knows exactly what's going on, has Dominus available. No flash up, but will have a lot of health bar to get through here for Fnatic. Bramble Vest is completed, like you were talking about. The tank volley bear, certainly a good option. Whippo is going to do exactly that. Boris be damned.
Buy his book.
No, don't do that. By the Lost Shopkeeper's book is in goes Xie, but immediately the Zenith Blade comes out from Hylissang. That's a great dredge line to immediately eradicate the Rift of Reckless. Now Hylissang, he does have an orb circulating around him, but no teammates as Selfmade was taking down the Rift Herald. So Rift Herald in trade for Reckless's life. It's probably okay here for Fnatic, depending on what they do with it. Slice comes in, dice available, but used defensively. Xie is going to go golden. He picked up his stopwatch. Oh, a little bit mistimed there. The Dawning Shadow will try and keep Xie alive, but he's lit on fire and taken down. That's going to be the kill going over to Nemesis. Now Longxing brought away from his turret, and he'll be taken down as well. Fnatic bite back quickly.
Yeah, and Fnatic are really keeping the pressure up right now. They have the Rift Herald. They're going to... Selfmade dancing on his corpse.
That's
what's going on there.
Beautiful.
Kramer and Mark, they are getting a lot of damage down here onto the bottom turret, but yeah, they're going to summon the Rift Herald here up in top lane. Let's see if they actually want to raise the entire turret. This gives Renekton the ability to comfortably farm, and it means that Whippo's now going to be pressured to do something. Okay, it's actually not going to get the entire turret, so this is still very good because it means that the laning phase will be extended so that Renekton's still forced to walk up inside of the lane against Whippo.
Yep. See whether it is going to be the Bane of Longxing here, who still hasn't got towards his Blade of the Ruined King just yet. Now Sheen has been completed here for Whippo. He's got definitely a eclectic collection of items at this point in time.
A little bit of a build bear.
It is, well, we're building a bear, that's absolutely true. Whippo taking it a little bit too literally, but that's okay. Certainly benefits from all of the stats of the items that are in his inventory, the 20% CDR being mainly what you're after. As the lead has extended for Fnatic.
Yeah. And the other thing is the Seraph's Embrace already on Nemesis. I mean, he's very big in this game right now. He's up 15 CS. He's almost able to get that turret plate. We'll see if he ends up managing to get it before the turret plates do fall.
Yep, still got a minute and a half on that one, so chances are he will be lucky on that front. Having a look at the Hecarim, Selfmade's gone for the Warrior Enchant very early here. Often we do see the rush towards Eternity Force, not happening here in this game. Selfmade wants power a lot earlier in this game by the looks of things, and you can understand, looking down the lineup of LGD, why he'd make that decision. Hylissang once again going in. This is 1 versus 2 at the moment, but Reckless over the wall, flashing in after the arrow lands, and that may have been a waste of a summoner spell unless they can get this dive onto Mark. Autos onto the turret as there's the depth charge to lock down the Ashe. Hylissang going down very low, but Eclipse will keep him up. Now Kramer looking for the piercing darkness just for some health back as Selfmade is going to back away. Now Peanut flashing. Collateral damage misses due to the flash. Now he's found Reckless, is going down very, very quickly as Xie doesn't find the paddle stop, and there's a lot of sparkles there, and he'll pick up a double kill, utilizing them. This is the power of the Zoe in these scrappy fights, and Selfmade, he gets 1 back, but now he's behind enemy lines. It's Owen Selfmade Wilson here, who's looking to try and get himself out of trouble. Xie, he picked up a flash. He's going to use that to shut down the horse. So unfortunately, not the happy ending that that movie does in fact have is going to occur in this game. But towards the top side of the map, Whippo will be able to answer with a turret. Gets the last plate there as well, as we do have 10 seconds before those plates fall down. Yeah,
and I mean, the action's just never starting. Now, Longsheng here, he's got a little bit of a hot date, gonna immediately shove back the wave. Collateral damage comes out, whiffs onto Hylissang, but Fnatic, they were going a little bit too hard in this. Now, the patience on a Selfmade to hold his ultimate. He goes back in onto Kramer. Kramer flashed north rather than back into his teammate. Almost actually let Selfmade get away.
Yeah.
Rather than pulling him back in. Also held his ultimate throughout all of that. Nemesis not able to be there or do anything during that time. He does extend his CS advantage. He's going to move over here. He's going to pick up the blue buff. And the lane will, the game will continue to develop. It's a 2,000 gold lead. Mountain in 1 minute, though. Super big dragon for both of these teams.
Yeah. It's crazy that the gold lead is 2,000 in favor of Fnatic, but the man with the most gold is, in fact, Xie in that mid lane after picking up all of those kills. Does have 7 kill participation, as there's the flash in from Hylissang. I believe that was a Hex flash. You may as well just press that button whenever it's available, but isn't actually able to find the Zenith Blade afterwards. And it'll be the disengage, but, you know, Hylissang can just go for that whenever he feels like. Solar Flare going to be up in a couple of seconds' time. That will mean full power for the bottom lane of Fnatic, despite Reckless not having any summoner spells. Piercing Darkness comes in, another Zenith Blade is going to land, as that's going to be the cleanse, but the follow-up arrow is going to be good. And Whippo comes through and gets rid of the center ulti. It's going to follow up there as Mark, he's going to go down. Double kill for the Volley Bear on the bottom lane of LGD. And they do not have an answer for the Fnatic aggression.
No, they don't. And I mean, this is going to be Mountain Dragon going over to Fnatic. They're up 3,500 gold roughly. This is a pretty good situation. Peanut.
Onslaught of Shadows comes in. The pushback is Xie over the wall. Peanut lasting for quite a long time, as that is a decent time for a sleep there for Whippo. He'd done all he needed to do by taking down the jungler, and now this Mountain Drake should be available for Fnatic. That will equal out the Dragons, but highest value definitely in the hands of the Europeans.
And okay, Fnatic.
Oh, Infernal as well. We got an exciting one.
This is definitely a spicy soul.
Oh yeah.
As Black Cleaver is being built towards by Graves, or is he trying to build Phage twice? You know, I mean... Boris does work in mysterious ways.
He certainly does. I think that might be a Serrated Dirk and a Kindle Gem to be coming through there for Peanut. You just wanted the Pahage to have it there for the extra movement speed. Sometimes that's a thing that you want, especially with Phase Rush. Now Whippo's going to turn back up towards the top side, and we're going to have a look at this one from Whippo's perspective as he grabs that double kill.
Well, we see he just comes in here, gets on to everyone, uses the ultimate to just launch right on top of Nautilus. There's not a whole lot that LGD were able to do there. Now, Fnatic, 4,500 gold lead. They did have 2 turrets, so the turrets that are still standing, once they do fall, that will help to reduce that a little bit. Selfmade now going to pick up the second Rift Herald of the game. Almost has his Trinity Force completed, and also important to note, he didn't actually skip his jungle item.
Talking about that before, it was quite interesting, that decision. It seems to have worked out.
And just going to finally get this. Nemesis now Looks like he's moving towards Zanya's as his second item. I'm curious where this game is actually going to head in about 3 minutes, because that fight around the Infernal Dragon is going to likely decide everything.
Yeah.
If Fnatic gets it, they're probably going to be able to carry through to the game, but if LGD get it, it gives them so much stabilizing power and it buys so much time.
Drew, Longshan's going to be fighting Whippo here. Conqueror's going to proc as they're just fighting over the Krogs. Relatively even, but in the end, I guess a slight advantage there for Longshan. 4,000 gold is going to be the lead. LGD, they do have a 2-item comp. You know, they do want to fight, like you were saying, around this next Infernal. They made it a little bit difficult for themselves, or at least Fnatic have, in this early game. So Fnatic's comp is going to be devastating in the late game teamfights. Feels like teamfights will sort of work themselves with this Hecker and Baird diving on in. Shockwaves being available as there's center plate time beautifully onto Xie. He's trying to get out. A lot of movement speed, but it's not going to be enough. Hillsong is eventually able to lock him down. Shockwave's going to come through. That picks up 2 kills. And Hillsong's not done. He's underneath an inner turret. Has a stopwatch to keep himself alive as there goes the turret from the fight. Bimbo continuing forward. Longshing's going to go down and Kramer's like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Triple kill for Nemesis. And Fnatic are smashing this game.
And then Fnatic, I mean, with this kind of a gold advantage, it is unfathomable to assume that they would lose that next dragon now. Their chance to win this game must be so close to 100% almost at this point. LGD blowing that fight right there, botching it, it sets them so much further back, and they already were behind on the side of this game. So we'll take a look at how this all transpires. Xie just getting caught and collapsed on, everyone grouping up. Solar Flare with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Webo there as well. Kramer, he can't do anything on Senna in this situation. Renekton comes in, not able to really add anything of value, and this is the mid-game of this Fnatic team composition. It has so much cohesiveness in just grouping and stomping onto opponents' team compositions, and LGD, they didn't really go the distance yet.
Nope. They haven't been able to get too much work done whatsoever. And this is the time where LGD's comp's supposed to work as well. It's just Fnatic have been able to so ingeniously play out this early game. Peanut does get the smite on the big raptor. That is a very small silver lining on quite a dark cloud. 5-1-1 for Nemesis. He's absolutely gigantic. Most CS in the game. The Orianna is only going to get more and more scary. Has his Zhonya's as well for a lot of extra safety. And so much defensive vision. You can see LGD just playing on the back foot entirely as we crest the 20-minute mark. You've got 25 seconds on the Infernal Drake that we said was going to be a pivotal fight. And I have a feeling that it may not necessarily be as much, as Fnatic do just have such a gigantic lead. Double Trinity Forces already completed here. And Selfmade already had that Warrior enchant. I mean, his horse is extraordinarily strong. Not to mention the bear as well.
Well, does seem like Fnatic now, they're just going to play it super safe and steady. They're going to have Selfmade pick up the Infernal Dragon.
Yep. Here's that dragon fight that we were talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Horse versus dragon. Selfmade showing us that horses win absolutely every time. Ignore all of those dragon-related movies that you've watched. This is how it works. As Peanut's going to come through, see whether man with a shotgun's going to be able to also do it. As Selfmade says, absolutely not. And he's just going to be able to steal that one away. So cheeky out of the European jungler, as Whippo was there just in case things went wrong.
Selfmade, he is
just
having a very good time. Well, Peanut might be a little bit tilted. I don't even know what he's looking for right now.
He was wandering casually into a tri-brush with absolutely nothing to look for. However, his camps weren't available just yet, so now he's going to head towards his raptors as they did just spawn. Mid laners have relocated towards the top side of the map. As Xie will just try and defend this inner turret, but this is not the position in the game as Zoe wants to be. You want to make the map dark and large for your opponent, not for yourself. That's not how it necessarily works. Also, got the worst Rift for this game as well. If you are a Zoe, taking away terrain, not great when you have so many terrain-related abilities.
And Zoe, I mean, she picks up the Banshee's Veil second, and that is going to be good against Enchanted Crystal Arrow and Solar Flare.
Yep.
As well as giving her some magic resistance against all of Fnatic, some magic damage, obviously. But it's going to mean that she's not going to hit as hard as she could. And sustained, prolonged fights, I mean, it's not what LGD really wants right now.
Blast Cone comes in. Zenithblade not going to connect. And Selfmade, he's running real fast, but doesn't really have a destination just yet. Now he's just going to be able to take down this Rift Scuttler pretty comfortably. Longsheng and Whippo are going to be fighting. Stormstrike comes down. As you can see, the Conqueror comes on in there as Longsheng. He's decided he's not going to be able to win this one. He's going to flash Wave of Whippo. He has a flash button as well, and he's looking for the Crocodile. Gets it. One more auto should be enough as the Dawning Shadow is way too late from Kramer, and Whippo easily picks up the solo kill.
And I mean, just right there, Whippo getting the solo kill on Longsheng really, I think, just cements
Peanut is turning up a little bit late yet again.
Shia, I don't know what. Okay, he's gonna lose half of his life right there.
Yep.
Death Cap gonna be the next item for the Orianna. The gold lead just so massive. Also factor in that they have two of the best dragons in the game. Mountain and Infernal are there bolstering all the stats as well. Looks like Death Stand's gonna be the next item for the Hecarim. And Fnatic look like they're content to just allow the game to keep going at this slow pace and just lean on dragons.
They also just have a better late game composition when it comes to team fighting, absolutely. More consistent DPS with the Ashe, as well as the two burly boys in the Hecarim and the Volibear, not to mention Orianna, who has been accelerated so much in this game. Nemesis just gigantic. 700 gold bounty at the moment. 9,000 gold is the lead for Fnatic. And they have been so decisive here today. After this game, if Fnatic are able to take the victory, then it'll say a 2-0 in the wins column for both them and Gen G, but they'll go into a rematch against the Korean squad looking so much more powerful.
And Fnatic are, I mean, this is quite a showing that they've had here today.
Yeah.
They are looking very in shape. Magi's also now completed onto Nemesis. And I think this just really builds up to that final game between those two later on today.
Yeah, the choice of the Holy Book as well is going to be absolutely beautiful. Make us feel fantastic here. Sitting on this desk as back is going to come through. LGD looking for one final reset before this Infernal Drake does come up. Fnatic will be getting to Soul Point there, but because the first Drake was taken so late, it is going to mean that the Soul itself will definitely be a little bit belated. 31-minute Soul, theoretically, if they're going to grab it on the spawn after this one. As Vision has been acquired by LGD on the Baron. As Nemesis turns up towards the top lane, does have his teleport available, so just going to add that extra pressure. As LGD, they poke their heads out, and they're looking for a potential fight around this Infernal Drake. It's Nemesis. Wonder whether he's going to stick around here as Longsheng is looking for the wraparound. Peanut is on his way up here as well. There's the Dominus, immediately going to get popped. Nemesis is going to use the Shockwave, beautifully timed there as the dice comes out. And Dissonance going to be there as well. Looks like Nemesis might be free and clear, but is going to have to avoid the Dawning Shadow. Does so. Slice Dice comes in. Bubble a little bit short. But that is going to be the cold meat coming out from Longsheng, and Nemesis is in an alcove of death as a shutdown does come through. In the meantime, however, Whippo is taking an inhibitor in the bottom lane. So I'd probably just be typing a worth in all chat there if I was Nemesis, as all of the backs going to come down for Gen G. Kramer here just looking to try and stop this Nexus turret from falling down as a result.
Okay, well,
this is looking a little bit dicey here. Yep, 4 versus 4 is going to come in as Selfmade, going to go down very, very low, but did a lot of AoE damage. That's going to be Whippo interrupted as the ultimate does come out eventually. Longsheng culling absolutely nothing. Mark is going to fall down. The stuns come through, and behind this huge bear in the front line, Fnatic Fnatic are just going to tear LGD apart. It's a double kill for Reckless and make it the same for Bwipo. And yeah, Fnatic are not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, they're calling for the end of the game, and these new blast cones gonna help Fnatic get into the base. Nemesis is there with the TP. The big question, did he buy Sork Elixir? That's the one on my mind, but I don't think it's gonna matter.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be taking points off for that one in this particular exam. The second Nexus turret is going to go down. Fnatic say no to tiebreakers, and their performance today has been second to none. And teams like Top Esports, theoretically, if they are able to come out on top of their group, like it looks like they're going to be able to do based on the first half of the group stage, yeah, I'd say seeding is going to be worth it, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed. I think seeding is pretty important for both of these teams. Like you just mentioned, those are teams that you want to avoid so that you can have a greater chance of progressing, obviously, in the tournament. So it's going to be an important match, and Fnatic is definitely wanting to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward